In the quiet suburb of Cedarwood Hills, there was one unspoken rule: whatever Karen Whitfield wanted, Karen Whitfield got. She had run this HOA for 11 years. She had gotten people fined, forced out of their homes, even sued. But when Marcus Webb moved into 14 Maple Lane, he brought something Karen had never encountered before: patience. And a lawyer. Marcus Webb had saved for 6 years to buy his home at 14 Maple Lane. Moving day was supposed to be the happiest day of his life. The truck had barely stopped when he heard heels clicking on the pavement. Karen Whitfield stood at the end of his driveway, clipboard in hand, red blazer pressed, pearl necklace gleaming. She handed him a fine notice, $150, before he had even stepped inside his own front door. The reason? His moving truck was parked 2 inches over the driveway boundary line. Marcus looked at the notice. Then he looked at Karen. He smiled and said, "Thank you. I'll read this carefully." Karen blinked. Nobody ever said that. Everyone always argued, or apologized, or paid immediately. Marcus just walked inside and closed the door. That evening, Marcus called his sister, Diane. Diane Webb was a civil rights and housing attorney based in Atlanta. He read her the violation notice over the phone. She went quiet for a moment. Then she said, "Send me the whole rulebook." Marcus photographed all 14 pages and sent them. At 11:47 p.m., his phone rang. It was Diane. She had been reading for 3 hours. She had made 37 marks in the document: violations of state HOA law, unenforceable clauses, selective enforcement patterns. She said one sentence that changed everything: "Marcus, don't fight back yet. Just document everything. Every single thing she does from this point forward." Marcus made himself a coffee, opened a new notebook, and wrote one line at the top: Day 1. Over the next 6 weeks, Karen sent Marcus 9 separate violation notices. Week 1, his mailbox color was non-compliant, $75 fine. Week 2, his grass was allegedly 0.3 inches too tall, $100 fine. Week 3, a guest parked in the wrong spot for 4 hours, $200 fine. Week 4, he had installed a basketball hoop in his driveway, $350 fine and an order to remove it within 48 hours. Marcus paid nothing. He photographed every notice, the envelope, the date, the postmark. He photographed his mailbox next to 3 identical ones on the street. He measured his grass with a ruler and photographed the ruler. He photographed his neighbor's basketball hoop, which had been there for 3 years with no fine. He put everything in a folder. The folder was getting thick. Marcus attended his first HOA board meeting on a Tuesday night in October. The meeting room was a converted garage at Karen's neighbor's house: folding chairs, a folding table, a whiteboard. Karen sat at the center of the table in her red blazer. Beside her sat Linda Torres, the board secretary, a quiet woman who had worked with Karen for 4 years and lately seemed to flinch every time Karen spoke. There were 12 residents in the room. Karen called the meeting to order and began reading fine updates. When she reached Marcus Webb, she smiled slightly. Marcus raised his hand. Karen acknowledged him. Marcus stood up and asked one question: "Could you please show us the financial audit reports for 2019 through 2022? The room went silent. Linda Torres looked down at her notepad. Karen said the records were being compiled. Marcus nodded politely and sat down. He wrote in his notebook, "She doesn't have them. Or she's hiding them." 3 days after the board meeting, Marcus woke up to find a plain white envelope on his doorstep. No name on it. No return address. Inside were 12 pages, bank statements for the Cedarwood Hills HOA Community Fund. Marcus sat at his kitchen table and read through them slowly. The HOA collected $340,000 in maintenance and administrative fees over 4 years. The outgoing transactions told a different story. There were charges to a company called CH Property Solutions LLC, $8,000 a month for general maintenance. Marcus searched the company name. It did not exist. He searched the LLC registration. It was registered to a Karen M. Whitfield, home address, 11, Maple Lane. Marcus picked up his phone and called Diane. He said only 4 words, "I think we're ready." Diane Webb filed a formal complaint with the State HOA Regulatory Board, the State Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division, and copied the County Housing Authority. The complaint was 47 pages. It included every violation notice Marcus had received with photographic evidence, the bank statements, the LLC registration, and a legal analysis of 23 clauses in the HOA rulebook that violated state law. 2 weeks later, a white government sedan parked in front of Karen's house. 2 investigators knocked on her door. Karen told her neighbors that Marcus was trying to destroy the community. She launched a petition, "Keep our neighborhood safe, remove disruptive resident Marcus Webb." 22 people signed it. She printed it and posted it on the community board. Linda Torres had been silent for weeks. But on a Thursday evening, she posted one message in the Cedarwood Hills Facebook group. It read, "Before you sign anything, ask Karen to show you the HOA bank statements from 2019 to 2022. Just ask." She posted nothing else. Within 48 hours, 18 of the 22 people who signed the petition sent Karen a message withdrawing their signatures. Karen called Linda. Linda did not pick up. A local newspaper reporter contacted Marcus. He declined to comment publicly. He said only, "The process is working. Let it work." Lower narrator voice, slower pace. Here is what Karen did not know. What nobody in Cedarwood Hills knew. On day 9, just 9 days after Marcus moved in, Diane had discovered something buried in the HOA's founding documents. The HOA election records. Going back 11 years. Every single election had used the same signature as the vote counter. Every one. The same handwriting. Karen's handwriting. Karen Whitfield had never been legally elected HOA president. Not once. She had forged 11 years of election results, which meant every fine she had ever issued, every rule she had enforced, every fee she had collected, was issued by a private citizen with no legal authority whatsoever. Every fine was void. But Marcus had not used this information. He had waited. Because every violation notice Karen sent after day 9, after Diane had found the forgery, was evidence of fraud committed with full knowledge of wrongdoing. By waiting, Marcus had turned a civil case into a criminal one. He was never just defending himself. He was building a federal case. From day 9. 6 weeks after the investigators first knocked on her door, Karen Whitfield was charged with wire fraud, embezzlement of HOA funds, and 11 counts of election record forgery. She resigned from the HOA board the same morning her attorney told her plea negotiations had begun. She did not come outside that day. Her red blazer was still hanging on the hook by her front door. The neighborhood was quiet. Nobody celebrated. Most people just felt tired. The HOA held its first real election in 11 years. Linda Torres won by a unanimous vote. All fraudulent fines issued under Karen's presidency were declared void. Every resident who had paid received a refund. Marcus received a check for $2,400. He signed it over to the Cedarwood Hills Playground Renovation Fund. At the first board meeting under Linda's leadership, she offered Marcus a seat on the board. He smiled and said, "I'm good. But I'll come to the meetings." He sat in the back row with a coffee. He brought one for Linda too. Narrator slows down, voice drops. Karen Whitfield spent 11 years building a kingdom out of fear and forged signatures. Marcus Webb dismantled it in 90 days, without raising his voice once. But here is what nobody in Cedarwood Hills talks about. Linda Torres, the new president, found a second bank account while going through Karen's files. The account had been open for 7 years. And the name listed as co-owner was not Karen's. Pause. That story is next week.